Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
I'm Aaron Maté here with Kurt Metzger. Yeah. And as Donald Trump continues to talk about making peace with Russia and walking away from the Ukraine proxy war, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow predicted that Americans were not going to take it.
One other thing to watch. If we really are now abandoning the free world and lining up instead with the world's dictatorships, and Trump is unwilling to even explain why, just watch. The American people are going to have some feelings about that, too. Just watch.
Oh, my God. I do have some feelings. Does anybody know what day here in Austin I can throw out a big box of COVID masks, Ukraine flags, and BLM signs? Is that a special trash pickup?
Well, the uprising that Maddow predicted hasn't materialized yet. People are not taking to the streets to demand that more of their tax money goes to arming neo-Nazi militias inside Ukraine and sacrificing Ukrainian lives just to bleed Russia.
Maybe if it was Israel, I could see taking some real action. Shooting two guys who I think are Palestinian but turn out to be Israeli, but they blame Arabs with me.
Well, listen, luckily, to explain why the pro-proxy war revolt hasn't happened yet, let's hear from CNN's Brian Stelter.
At least it's pretty obvious what's happening. Some of this, I fear, is about illiteracy on the part of the voters, not knowing, for example, about the spending that's going to Ukraine that's actually funding American technology, right? Funding American manufacturing plants. And by the time you do learn those facts, it's too late.
But I do think, look, not...
Let's hear that one more time. Listen to Brian Stelter explain why more Americans are not up in arms, that their tax dollars won't be continuing to fuel the Ukraine proxy war. Let's hear again from Brian Stelter.
At least it's pretty obvious what's happening. Some of this, I fear, is about illiteracy on the part of the voters, not knowing, for example, about the spending that's going to Ukraine that's actually funding American technology, right? Funding American manufacturing plants. And by the time you do learn those facts, it's too late.
But I do think, look, not...
Weapons manufacturers, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, you don't realize it's cool because they're making money on it.
Yeah, and the voters are just illiterate. They don't
said not to do my own research. I stopped doing research.
But by the time they find out, he says it's too late. So only I'd known.
Are you sure? It feels like there's plenty of time with this war dragging on and on. It feels like it should have been like out of time a long time ago, but it just kept going somehow.
Well, you're right, Kurt, because our corporate and political overlords have not been shy about telling us constantly for 3 years that, yes, our money for Ukraine is actually going to weapons contractors. Here, for example, is Stelter's colleague, Erin Burnett of CNN.
It's worthwhile with all of this gaining, some steam in public perception to be clear on some facts. First and foremost, the vast majority of this money is going to American companies and jobs. Right? Because those are the people who are making the Abrams tanks, the ammo, and everything else. And we take Lockheed Martin, which makes the HIMARS that have been core to Ukraine's counteroffensive. The company announced it's going to increase its workforce in Camden, Arkansas by 20%, just because of this new demand. That money's going to America.
Well, can they get some illegal aliens to work there?
So Brian Stelter must not be aware that his own colleagues have been trying to spread the word that their tax dollars are going to weapons manufacturers. Here's one more example. This is from just late last year, Morning Joe. Retired Admiral James Stadovridis.
Donald Trump about the money we could spend on Ukraine. We're talking $40 billion a year, which is about 5% of the U.S. defense budget. Our defense budget, $800 billion, $40 billion, about 5%. For that amount of money, we are breaking the phalanx of Russia's military. And those are the best dollars we have ever spent in defense. And point two, all that money, that $40 billion a year, that's not a check we're handing Zelensky. All that money is paid to U.S. defense contractors, making our defense industrial base stronger. Russia gets weaker. To Joe's point, final thought, the Russians today are spending 35% of their GDP on defense. That is not a prescription for long-term growth.
Yeah, Willie, this is a generational impact on Russia. And yes, it's helped U.S. businesses.
Yes,
It is, in one word, for President Trump, it's leverage. This is terrific leverage. You put a small amount of money in, and you get massive effect. This is a good deal for the United States.
So speaking of the president-elect.
It's a great deal. It's a great deal. These people hate welfare. They hate social programs. They love welfare, though, for the military-industrial complex.
What does he mean that's not just going to check to Zelensky? Didn't Zelensky say they're missing half the money we said? And
Yeah,
which means more than that, by the way.
Yeah, he did say that. He said he's received half the money that's been allocated. That's right.
Who is this guy, by the way?
James Stavridis. He's a retired admiral. Not admirable. Admiral. He's not admirable.
He works for the Matt Orphalords.
Let's hear another one. This is Senator Mitch McConnell.
On another issue, looking forward to seeing President Zelensky on Thursday.
We play him again.
On another issue, looking forward to seeing President Zelensky on Thursday. I think it's always good to remind everyone that a good portion of the money allocated to Ukraine is being spent in this country to rebuild our industrial base.
Wait, what? Is he just not saying the weapon part? Because our industrial base?
Yeah, the industrial base that deals with making missiles that maim people. Yeah,
Don't we still need China for that? I don't understand why this is so important, but we send it all to China.
And by the way, he can thank Mitch McConnell. He can thank Bernie Sanders, the squad, the entire Congressional Progressive Caucus for voting alongside him to rebuild the military-industrial base. So great job. Lindsey Graham, let's hear him say it as well.
Ukraine is still standing. This war is about money. People don't talk much about it. But you know the richest country in all of Europe for rare earth minerals is Ukraine. $2 to $7 trillion worth of minerals that are rare earth minerals, very relevant to the 21st century. Ukraine's ready to do a deal with us, not the Russians. So it's in our interest to make sure that Russia doesn't take over the place. It's the breadbasket of really the developing world. 50% of all the food going to Africa comes out of Ukraine. We can make money and have an economic relationship with Ukraine that'd be very beneficial to us with peace. So Donald Trump's going to do a deal to get our money back, to enrich ourselves with rare earth minerals, a good deal for Ukraine and us. And he's going to bring peace. And Biden's been a disaster when it comes to containing bad guys.
You wait. You said it was the best money we ever spent on minerals.
That's right. The best money we've ever spent, and we're going to get it back through
minerals. A big old pile of minerals. Minerals, y'all.
So I don't know what Brian Stelter is complaining about. The word has gotten out. Just for some reason, I guess
it's too late now.
It's too late now. And those illiterate Americans, according to Brian Stelter, just don't get how good.
Everything's a Humpty Dumpty story with this guy.
Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.